Among man's many pursuits is the boundless endeavor of space. Every time we believe we are closer to understanding the nature of space and finally discovered all the types of things the cosmos can host, there comes a new surprise for us. A black hole, a new kind of galaxy, a strange object that you can neither call a planet, nor a star, nor even an asteroid, or perhaps a 72-second-long radio signal that hints at the presence of extraterrestrial life. The newest discoveries in space have mostly come as mere surprises, things even experts at NASA had not expected to find. Take, for example, the discovery of Oumuamua, the first interstellar object that has made it into and out of the solar system. Today, we will examine a few of these discoveries and try to decode their meaning. One of the greatest discoveries of the modern times was published in the Journal of Astronomy and Physics in February 2022. Something big had happened 730 million light-years away from the Earth. But to understand the nature of this happening, we first need to look into what galactic clusters are. A galactic cluster is simply a cluster of many stars held together by Newton's dearest discovery, gravity. Galactic clusters will join together to form galaxy clusters. The greater size of the latter separates galactic clusters from galaxy clusters. The story doesn't end here. Galaxy clusters join together to form superclusters. These are currently known as the largest structures in the part of the universe man has managed to explore. To understand this better, let's look at where we stand in the greater picture. Our solar system is a part of the galaxy, the Milky Way. The Milky Way is a part of the local galaxy group, a galaxy cluster that merges to form the Virgo supercluster, which in turn forms a part of the Laniakea supercluster. The Laniakea supercluster hosts approximately 100,000 galaxies in addition to our own. Superclusters are surrounded by other superclusters. These clusters are separated by large spaces called voids. Consider superclusters to be an oasis in a desert of voids. Note that when we're talking about superclusters being the largest objects in space, we do not include voids and black holes in our list of comparatives. For those who have studied physics, shock waves are pretty easy to understand, but for those who have not, let's start from the basics. A shock wave is a wave. The specialty of this wave is that it moves away faster than an ordinary sound wave. It carries energy and needs a medium to travel. This means that shock waves should not be able to travel through space, because fifth-generation science taught us that space is a vacuum. However, shock waves are generated in space because of a sudden, infinite change in temperature, pressure, and density. When this happens, the medium for the transmission of the shock wave is generated by the origin itself. For example, when two galaxy clusters collide, this will release electrons and other forms of radiation which will carry the shock wave throughout space for infinite distance and amounts of time. Shock waves have the potential to accelerate electrons at the speed of light. A shock wave 60 times greater than the Milky Way was detected using the Meerkat telescope. The discovery was published in the Journal of Astronomy and Physics in February 2022. According to the publication, this shock wave was a result of an occurrence within Abell 3667. Two galactic clusters had merged into each other to give rise to the shock wave. The Abell 3667 is the supercluster of around 550 individual galaxies mixing into a large, complicated mess. This study surprisingly stated that the shock wave had been produced around 1 billion years ago. It had sent out electrons at that time, and they were still traveling through the universe at a superspeed of 1,500 kilometers per second. The electrons further gave rise to radio waves as they passed through magnetic fields in space. The Meerkat telescope and a South African radio astronomy observatory. It consists of 64 dishes and radio antennas, each 13.5 meters in diameter. Such as spectral line imaging, transient searches, and pulsar timing. These modes detect radio signals too. So it was the radio waves generated by the shock wave that the Meerkat detected to map it. The collision of the two clusters has resulted in a release of the amount of energy as large as that released during the Big Bang. Another instrument put to task observing this shockwave was the XMM, Newton X-ray Observatory, a space observatory launched by the European Space Agency. The images produced with the help of both Meerkat and the XXM Observatory show the Able 3667 as a bright white spot surrounded by red light. The white part shows the collection of galaxies concentrated at the center of Able 3677, while the red light indicates the shock waves emanating from it. Another fantastic discovery, or perhaps a terrifying one, is the Boötes void. Voids are basically large areas of space with little or no galaxies. Again, consider them as large deserts, with small galaxies representing oases. Nobody knows why these voids exist. Usually, galaxies will possess enough gravity to make many other galaxies stay near them, but voids negate the concept. One explanation for this could be the Big Bang Theory, which states that the universe originated from a single point and has continued to expand since. So it might be that the continuous expansion led to the creation of these large empty regions of space, which we now call voids. Voids are often confused with black holes. However, black holes can be considered the complete opposite of voids. Where voids are completely empty regions of space, absolute nothingness, black holes are concentrated regions of dark matter. Where voids possess little or no gravity, black holes possess gravitational forces that are strong enough to rip apart any celestial body that dares to come close to them. Light can and will escape voids, but cannot escape black holes. Moving on with the Boötes void, it is a large galactic void named after its proximity to the Boötes constellation. It is almost perfectly spherical in shape and contains a very small number of galaxies. Its radius is nearly 62 megaparsecs, or 1.9 by 1021 kilometers, or 165 million light-years. First discovered by Robert Kushner in 1981, the Boötes void was the largest known void in the observable universe, and remains so to date. An astronomer by the name of Greg Aldering concluded that had the Milky Way been one of the few galaxies the Boötes hosted, we would never have been able to discover another galaxy until 1960. For ease of comparison, the first recorded observation of another galaxy was in 964, when Persian astronomer Abd al-Rahman al-Safi made reference to the Andromeda Galaxy and the Large Magellanic Cloud in his Book of Fixed Stars. When Robonaut 2 was flown to NASA's space station back in 1970, it became the first humanoid robot in space. Since then, multiple developments in science and space technology have led to the invention of more advanced instruments. The Voyager 1 and 2, the rovers on Mars, and the James Webb Space Telescope have all been tasked with making the cosmos more accessible and understandable for humans. Every day, the universe unveils another one of its mysteries to us. Every discovery leaves us searching for meaning. Some mysteries we are able to explain, while some remain unsolved. The greatest question, however, is whether man will ever be able to discover the whole universe. The answer depends on whether the universe is finite or infinite. Its true nature, even the most knowledgeable have not been able to guess.